Bledsoe diving for the steal, taps it to Antetokounmpo. On the drive, flips it up, gets the finish and the foul.
Coach is 6'11" with speed, but now he has the girth and strength to be able to finish through traffic. He's only 23 years old, and you look what type of numbers he puts up.
Lead, the biggest one was 21, and it's how they closed the game, 120-99. Game 2 goes to the Milwaukee Bucks, 2-0 lead as we go back to Detroit. Take you inside our studios here in Atlanta Game Time Live. As always, we've got all the press conference coverage, the press coaches and the players, and we'll have breakdowns and analysis. Brevin Knight, Vince Carter. Along the way, we'll have you through the rest of the way, as currently I think James Harden just scored 6 points during the time that we just talked. That's how it's going in that other game. Let's talk about Giannis. So let's start with that, because you played like him, Brevin. So
above the rim, of course.
Above the rim.
Let's start with that. He can do so many things well and impact in so many different ways, but the dominance is what stands out, and really that intimidating dominance we saw all night long tonight.
Well, the one thing that I like about Giannis is that he plays his game, no matter what. People say, well, maybe if he were to do this, listen, what he does is attacks the basket extremely well, puts the defense in precarious situations because of his size and his length. We see here, 3 defenders can't deter him from getting to the front of the rim. And he has creative finishes. We see the dunks all the time, but you see there the finish with the left hand out on the perimeter. Why I always say it's hard. Well, Drummond is too strong to take the charge there. If you guard him with big guys and they give this space, he's able to take up the space, and because he has the long strides and Euro step, he's able to get where he wants to on the floor, and he's just a dominating player.
You look at the vision defensively, the boards, the impact, and look, somebody else may be cherry picking. Giannis just took 2 steps and went down the whole floor to get there. The blocks.
So Thon Maker thought he was going to get it because Giannis had dunked on him earlier. I think if Thon takes one more dribble, he has a chance, but you leave that much space. Giannis is just too long with his length to be able to stop that far away from the basket.
Vince, when you're sitting there and you're backpedaling and Giannis is coming down at you, you don't.
That's where
right?
that's where you're wrong, right there.
Okay, tell me.
You're backpedaling.
Okay.
You have to sprint back and turn around because he's going to run up your back.
Right.
And when you're
literally,
if you're running backwards or if you're backpedaling and he's coming at you, you have no chance. His upper body strength, he knows how to use his body extremely well to draw fouls. Like Brev said with the Euro step, he has an assortment of moves around the basket and in transition where it's tough. You have to load with multiple bodies. He has to see bodies. If not, it's tough to guard a one-on-one.
Over the years, I always loved seeing it through, because you guys as peers, that's where the true respect and the knowledge and understanding of greatness is, because you know how hard it is. And when I'm watching a guy, and I don't blow any smoke, I'm not nice, but the guy who I think is the best dunker ever, no disrespect to Nick who was here or anybody else, when I see you watching him and the athleticism, almost kind of wowed by it, it's important to bring up. I mean, can you talk about, just even for you, what do you think when you see a guy that size and you're there on the court against a guy like that? What stands out to you about Giannis, Vince?
His aggression. When he dunks it with authority, angry. That's something I used to do every now and then, right, Rev?
No,
a little bit.
More than just a little bit.
A
lot of it.
He has the ability to take off from almost a free throw line. He has a array of dunks and moves, and that's I think what wows us. You look at when he started and how you would play him, and he's so skinny, and you just push him around. It's none of that anymore. He's pushing you around, and he's going to drop step dunk on anybody in traffic. And I think that's what wows a lot of us around the league with the where he was and who he's become now, an MVP candidate.
Yeah, look, I might have odd dreams, but can we get Zion and Giannis in the slam dunk competition so we can have something to watch, Vince, when he plays next year? So let's talk about E-Bled, because Eric Bledsoe he earned that deal that he got. And even though he wasn't an all-star, Vince, he played to that caliber. We were talking about it. Offensively, defensively, everything about his game was locked in, really, since Bud got there. And we saw the impact of Bledsoe tonight in this game in Game 2.
Under control, patient, just taking what the defense gives him. We always knew he can get downhill. We always knew he was a threat in the paint. But the one thing he's doing is just shooting a three, the standstill three, and knocking down shots.
Mike Budenholzer after moving to 2-0 in this series.
I think that's what we want. That's what we expect. So, good second half. Obviously, the three big guys, Giannis, Chris, Eric, very good, and Pat off the bench. So, good to see us get tested in the first half and come out and respond in the third quarter.
But I know there's been nights where the halftime message is, just be yourselves. And there's been half times where it's going in and telling the guys maybe loudly, time to get it together. What was the message tonight?
No, it was, I think the biggest kind of what I just alluded to, I think we were not rebounding. We weren't taking care of the boards. I think they were just kind of outworking us. But it was... And I think, they were playing well. The pick and roll game with Jackson and Drummond, they were effective. And, I think you have to give credit to Detroit. And we just said we want to keep doing what we've always done. We just got to be better. Particularly, we got to be better taking care of the boards. I thought a couple transition baskets, we didn't stick to our principles. But it was just kind of a normal halftime. And, let's just do what we've been doing. Let's just do it a lot better.
It seemed like Bled just kind of came up with a bunch of big plays, timely plays when you guys needed him. In particular, that miss by Pat from the corner, he comes in for the offensive rebound. Just how much do you think that he affected the game tonight in terms of giving you guys a jolt?
Yeah, I thought Eric was big time. I mean, the one you just talked about really stands out. I think we'd made a big run, gone up, 17 or so, maybe more, and then they cut it back, and we were a little bit wobbly, and that's just a heck of an athletic play to, I think catch it with his left hand and just put it back off the board and finish it. And then he gets the steal and a couple other plays. And, it did feel like, his plays and his defense were very timely. And that's kind of, what he's done for us a lot this year. He has big impact plays.
It's 2 straight solid games for Pat off the bench. Just what is his energy and athleticism meant coming off the bench?
Yeah, it's great when you have, a little bit of pop off your bench. I love the pop he gives us defensively. How many block shots did he have? He covers a lot of ground. He gets to great contests. Even when he doesn't block them, I think he bothers shooters. He's really great chasing and staying with guys. And now, he mixes in, making some threes. He's going to the basket and finishing. He and I are laughing. He's turned into our best power forward with a jump hook. So, he's doing a little bit of everything.
Before the game, Dwayne Casey spoke a little bit about trying to get defenders in front of you guys in the paint, try and take some charges. It looked like in the first half they did a pretty good job of that, but in the second half you were sort of able to get to spots, get better looks. So was that something you mentioned at halftime, or was that sort of player-driven? And I guess the second part was Giannis to start the third quarter with 7 points in the first minute. What did you see from him?
Yeah, we did talk a little bit at halftime. I think we have to move them a little bit more. We have to play with each other a little bit more. In the first half, there's times when we're just, felt like we're just trying to basically beat our guy without any passes. And, when there's lanes and there's opportunities, we like that. But I think, we got to be just as willing to make a couple of passes, move the defense a little bit, and then attack again. And the first half, it didn't feel like we were as willing to make those passes and move them before we attacked. Second half was better. Giannis, the first couple minutes, getting 7 points. The first play of the half, he kind of gets it on a go and catch and finishes. And so, I don't think he didn't feel great about how he played in the first half. And, he usually, when he feels that way, he's going to do something to change it.
But it seemed like kind of like a volume thing in the first half. Your shooting percentage was pretty strong, and theirs wasn't great, but they end up with a lead. Was it empty possessions on your end, and part of what you just talked about, and maybe not doing that extra pass to get a hoop and might be an offensive foul or something like that, just to kind of stunt your own possessions?
Yeah, I mean, I think they had 14 or 15 more shots than us. We had we were significantly better in field goal percentage and 3-point percentage and free. But we turned it over too many times, so that gave them extra possessions. And then we talked about they'd killed us on the offensive boards in the first half. And so between our turnovers and their offensive rebounding, they just got so many more shots than us that, they were up at halftime, despite, us shooting a higher percentage.
But how do you feel you guys responded to their use of Luke Kennard in the starting lineup? And did you change anything specifically at halftime?
Yeah, I would say, he was a big part of that first half, thrust that they put out there. And certainly credit to Luke. He played well. I think there's a couple areas where we need to tighten up and we can be better. But again, the first half, they're a good team. There's a reason why they're in the playoffs, and those guys, Kennard made a bunch of shots. Reggie Jackson made a lot of shots and reads, and they played well, including Kennard. And I think we can be better, but you got to give him credit.
Yeah, there were a few possessions in a row where Giannis was walking up and down the court there in the third quarter. He had a collision with Drummond and didn't get back on defense. Just was there anything to that in terms of him? Was he cramping or anything to that?
No, I mean, I think Giannis, he tends to play so hard and he gives so much, and he does a ton for us defensively. Then we're trying to play fast, and he may have the ball a lot. So I don't think it was anything unusual. There was no dead ball. He ended up playing a little bit longer than his normal stretch, and so he plays so hard for us. He leaves it all out there. So sometimes he gets just a little bit winded.
Tonight, there's the sequence where Chris gets that steal, throws it up to Eric. There's the sequence where Eric gets taps it over to Giannis, and then he goes, "What does it mean to have like your three big guys like they're making hustle plays on a night like this?"
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of been talking about that all year. When those guys do it, it means even more. When your best players are kind of, getting on the floor for loose balls, getting 50-50 balls, doing things defensively. Everybody's watching them. And, I think the whole team follows those three leads. And, tonight, their second half was a great example of it. Thanks.
All right, there's Mike Budenholzer. We look at Blake Griffin not playing, trying to give it a go, could not. Giannis, give and go. Ebled, right back to you. And a foul. Lead was 2-ish. Drummond, Lob City. In a Motor City, 18-16 for Drummond in the game, and then more Giannis hits.
Back down.
Oh, man.
I think they call that a body.
He started out thawed, and after this, he was thick. Bruce Brown, Brotherhood. Where are you, G. Hill? There's Luke Kennard for 3. Kennard should shoot more. He had 19 in the game. Was clearly the best offensive player tonight.
But he's a guy that can make shots, and if they can get Reggie Jackson and he to get themselves going, then they'll have leads like they had at the half.
I see what you did there, 18-8 for Reggie. Giannis for 3. We like doing this more. Euro, off glass, and there's open, and then there's this.
Hey, let's be clear. They need a little more than those two.
I think he flew down the other end of the court. Pistons try and hang around, doing work of their own. Cut it to 11, some work for Thon Maker from Reggie.
Well, he wants to play well in front of those fans, but
Dunk.
Oh!
didn't go so well.
Where's that discount double check? Danica! Or a golf clap. Either way. Lead was 9. Pat Connaughton, rare miss. He was 8 of 10. Bledsoe finishes that. He bled. Brevin at 27, 6 assists, 4 boards.
Well, the thing about him was he was aggressive the entire night, but not just offensive aggression. He was also aggressive on the defensive end, creating havoc and starting breaks like this.
Giannis, 1 on 3, no matter, 26, 12, and 4. In the game, 120-99. The final biggest lead of the game was at the end of the game. They win it by 21. We talk about supporting cast. And Bledsoe was big. Pat Connaughton off the bench, 8 out of 10, 18 and 9. On the other side for Dwayne Casey, team played hard. We're in it for about 60% of the game. Unfortunately, the other 40% happened too. Here's Coach Casey.
Any questions?
Coach, that's Deltroit first, I guess. The things you were looking to do tonight, did you guys, did they, obviously you didn't win the game, did they play better than
Well, again, I thought we set the tone in the second quarter, but again, against a team like Milwaukee, you've got to do it for a longer period of time. I don't think we extended it long enough. It showed in the third quarter scoring. They scored 35 points to our 17, so it was our Achilles heel tonight. Again, our challenge has been that way a lot this year when we struggle, is extending hard play, not getting bored with doing the fundamentals, not getting bored to kicking the ball out and doing those things offensively, and then defensively staying solid and to make sure we execute what we're supposed to do. That's a discipline that's got to be at the top of our charts going into next game and also into next year. Luke Kennard was really proud of the way he came. He gave us a little bit more spacing, a small lineup, gave us the opportunity to score, space the floor, move the ball, and I thought we did that in the second quarter. And again, we got away from that in the third, subsequently, scoring 17 points.
Dwayne, on that defensive theme, Bruce Brown, you made the switch with Luke and Bruce, but it seemed like he fit a little bit better. He was comfortable coming in the second quarter from a defensive perspective. How did that help overall?
It did. It set the tone, gave us a little juice and energy. But against this team, you've got to score. You've got to score. You can't, think that you're going to get that many stops and not give yourself a chance to win. And for us to beat them, we've got to make sure we do a good job of executing, moving the ball, attacking the paint, kickouts, attacking the paint, finishing, attacking the paint, giving ourselves a chance to, we got up, 36 threes. We had some great looks from threes and knocked those down. So that's the way, the opportunity, the recipe for giving us a chance to beat a team like Milwaukee.
Well, aside from the defensive stuff, and you mentioned you got up a lot of threes tonight, did the offense for the most part function like you wanted to for most of the night?
It did. Especially second quarter. The drive kick swings, the kickouts were the key to the scoring. And where we got 32 in the second quarter, and then we took the shots they wanted us to take in the third quarter, and we got to reverse that.
Is there a learning curve to playoff energy, and maybe did you leave opportunities on the court with some open threes that you didn't make in the first half?
No question. Again, your team has been here how many years in a row now, and I was here 2 years ago. They were kind of going through the same thing we're going through now, getting that playoff experience, getting the battle wounds, battle scars, learning. And again, it's a different game, a different level, and you've got the small mistakes you can make and get by with in the regular season, they're magnified in this setting. And, you've got to do the little things for a longer period of time, especially in the playoffs. And again, like you said, if you got a wide open shot, you better knock it down. You might not get another one. And again, we did. We got some of the shots we wanted, but, it's a make or miss league.
Dwayne, one thing you really emphasized leading into this game was at a point your defenders have to meet the Bucks in the transition or in the half court. Did you feel like they did a much better job of that tonight?
I thought we did want to have 3 charges against Antetokounmpo, and we got to do that. We put a wall there. Andre did a good job of getting in the wall, and we got to take as many of those as possible, and put your body in there and have a confrontation. And that's where it's got to be. And I thought we did a much better job. I think they only had, 2 dunks in the first half, and did a much better job protecting the nail in transition. All right, thank you.
All right, so Dwayne Casey, hoping things are better at home. This is your home for the Thursday playoff schedule. TNT got to be the most interesting series. Nets and Sixers. Nets weren't happy about some of that laughter about the elbow that was given by Embiid. We'll see what happens in Game 3 in Brooklyn. They'll be in the house. Spurs Nuggets even. And oh yes, Lou Will, Pat Bev and the Clippers against Kevin Durant, who said simply, "I'm Kevin Durant." We've got more coming up here. Game Time Live, breaking down the Bucks' 21-point win to take a 2-0 stranglehold of this series.